Kelvin, good to see you. First off, before we get into the football stuff, it was a pretty hairy week in Florida last week. How are things?
Yeah, no, it was fine in the end. These storms come through now and again, and you have to take precautions, and we evacuated out. But it was nice. Actually, one of the nicer things was all the messages that I got from Northampton looking in. I thank everyone that sent a note, sent a message. That was very, very kind. We evacuated out, and luckily we didn't have much damage. The actual eye of the storm went over my daughter's house, but she'd evacuated with us as well. So, but overall it was a lot better than it could have been. But there was a lot of people affected by it, so your heart goes out to them. But I appreciate all the support and everything from Florida.
Well, good to see you at Sixfields, and the international break last weekend just gave everyone a chance to take a breath and look back on the opening few weeks of the season. What have you made of those?
No, I did. The international break's interesting now for everybody because now we're in League One. It really affects. I think we've had almost every international break off. Not always from our perspective, from the oppositions as well. So it does give you a bit of a chance to regroup. It was a nice weekend. I got a nice invitation from Nigel into the NFL game at Spurs on Sunday. So it was good to spend a bit of time with him and his family and watch that game. It was really good seeing the sort of different approach that the Americans take in terms of seeing a football match at Spurs and seeing an NFL game at Spurs. It was interesting, but then you get past that weekend, and now we're back into it, and Orient on Saturday. Looking at how we've done, it's a strange start because it's actually relatively similar to last season as well, where it was an indifferent start, and then you go away to Huddersfield and do really well, and everyone enjoys it, and you're looking a bit more confidently at things, and then and I think we played well against Mansfield and probably deserve much more out of the Mansfield game. But then you have two games which from our perspective were poor in certain areas, and especially the results. Bolton especially. I don't think Wrexham was necessarily a 4-1 game, but it ended up that way, and we certainly didn't perform where we would like to, I think, and I think John accepted that from the team perspective. So it's then about regrouping. Again, we had it last year when we went, I think we got hammered away to Derby, and we had to lick our wounds a little bit, and I think we lost in the Cup to Barrow maybe around that sort of time, and it was a real sort of eye-opener around, okay, what do we do next? I think we'll probably touch on that. I think we've been ridiculously unlucky with injuries so far, and I think all teams have injuries, and we've had it over the last few years of injuries, and sometimes I think we're better when we do have a few injuries. It's just the way we are. We kind of get our head down and try and cope with it, but I think this year's been a bit different because, the last couple of years you've had injuries where people have been out like 4 to 6 weeks, and that's typical, and you can definitely deal with that a lot easier. This year we've got some long-term injuries, and I think 4 players had surgery, and obviously Paul Callum probably going to be out for most of the season, but even the other 3, and to have 3 left backs go down like we have. And you look at all those aspects. You look at it all, and you go, Mbete did pre-season with Man City. Came into us. Bruffy breaks his leg. Ali has to have surgery and etc. So you look at it, and the fact that you've got 3 left backs out, and you've got to bring in Nesta and luckily we do have a big squad, or a bigger squad than we've had previously, and that's going to be helpful and going to be advantageous. But and we've probably got 5 or 6 injuries, which isn't untypical of a team and etc. But we're just concentrated in the defensive area, which is hard to deal with and hard to battle through when a lot of probably over 50% of your defenders are injured. So. It's definitely something that John's working through and got to figure out a way that we can obviously defend better in the last couple of games, and I think but we will do. John, we have every confidence in John and the squad to bounce back, and we know there's tough games, and we know we've got do better than the last couple of games, but we will, and it's not the end of the world. And we've got a good squad, and we know that. And going forward, I think we look exciting at times, and even in the two games where we were poor, and look at Huddersfield. Realistically, realistically, we played them off the park for long periods of that game. So that wasn't that long ago. So we just got to remember where we are, remember what we've got in the squad and the quality we've got in the squad. And great to see Tom back, and I think he showed what he can do, but it's unfortunate you lose Callum at the same time, because you maybe would like to have seen Tom and Callum together. But there's players in that squad that have been through adversity, and there's we've got a manager and a coaching staff that have been through adversity and come through it. So that's what we're good at.
I think most people expected this would be a tough season, and the standard of League One does appear to have gone up a few notches from last season.
Yeah, but I think the standard of our squad has as well in terms of overall. So, we can't. I think as a club we accept that, but we have to keep. We have to focus on matching that standard or improving that standard or etc. etc. We shouldn't be afraid of going up against teams. There's obviously a couple of outliers. I think I watched the Birmingham Wrexham game live. I thought Birmingham were excellent, but then again, Charlton beat them, who have been struggling a little bit. So Charlton beat them the other day, and so you can in one-off games you can certainly get results. We did it last year, Derby, when they came here and they were about to be promoted, and we beat them 1-0, and we go to Huddersfield, and you wouldn't expect us to put in the performance and get the result we did against there. So we have to think about ourselves first, and we have to think about attacking teams and going at teams, etc. And we probably have to be a bit harder to beat. That's the one thing I think we'd probably all agree on. Defensively as a group, we're not talking about defenders, but defensively as a group, just a bit harder to beat, because we've got the quality going forward. It's just things like from the front, defending from the front, midfield and the back, simple stuff. And listen, that's not necessarily my department, but we all we're all football fans, and we all start talking about it when we do. So, but realistically, I think it is a tough league, but it's something that with the challenge that we've got to face.
Talk about a few off the pitch matters. The East Stand progress continues at a pace.
Well, you've got to say happy birthday today. I had to bring cakes in today for the stadium, because I'd been away a couple of weeks with all the stuff going on in Florida, but it was great. I walked over there yesterday with James and the guys from GRS, and it was great again to see the progress being made. It's exciting stuff. There's bits of it that people are going to love. There's bits of it you look at and go, you do go back to the original design sometimes, and you go, cool, that was a bit strange, and I'm not sure why we did that, or why they did that back a long time ago. But and things moved on, building codes, etc. But I think it's going to turn out really well, and I think we've done as a group, and and James and the staff here and GRS I think we've done a good job of making the best of that stand, and I think it will be exciting. I think the big thing now is we've gone on for I think the progress has been excellent, and I think we're on target to the sort of dates that we've talked about, which is great. And I think now the big thing, once the glass goes in, that'll make be a big milestone. I'm hoping that'll go in by the end of this month. I don't think there's many people out there that thought we were going to finish it as quickly as we did as a club, and I'm very proud of that in terms of once everything got agreed. Obviously, I'm not talking about when we came in, because that period of time is extended for all the reasons that we know. But from the moment the deal got done, the fact that stand is going to be completed by first quarter 25, and it looks very much on track for that. Then I think everyone, GRS, ourselves as a club, and staff, and everyone should be commended on that, and hopefully it'll be something the fans can really enjoy.
Exciting times for the East End, and exciting times as well. The Brian Lomax Fan Zone announced late last week. Yeah, no, that was something that had been talked about. Brian's legacy has always been talked about at the club ever since my time. I met Emily when we first took over a couple of times actually, and we talked about that.
And then it came up, and it came up in discussion. I know the Fab talked about it, and then we started talking about names, and it was an idea should we name certain aspects of the East Stand, and the Fab had Tom came back with a list of people that should be involved. Other people made input, but Brian's name always stood out. And then in discussion, we were talking about boxes, and we talked about, and I know the Fab talked about, and Tom talked about, is a box, a hospitality box, really what Brian would have wanted, or what his legacy should be? And the decision was probably not. Well, actually, the decision was definitely not. We talked about the concourse in the East Stand and whether that was the appropriate legacy, and we just felt that the fans, that then it was just confined to the East Stand, and do you want a concourse named after you? I'm not sure. So the idea of the village of the zone, fan zone, came up, and I thought it was an excellent idea, and I thought, and I definitely thought, and I thought it suited, and you had. It means you've got Graham recognised with the Cars Bar, and I think that will end up being where the fan zone sort of place, and now you've got Brian there as well. So I do think it's, what Brian did for the trust movement at Northampton, for the trust movement across the country, and we've obviously spoken to the FSA as well about the whole process, and they're pleased as punch that Brian's going to get recognised, because I think if my history is right, Brian was quite influential in beginning what has now evolved into the FSA, so for the Supporters Association. So we're pleased to be at the forefront of that as a club, and most pleasing, I think, is the fact that a lot of this is going to be done in association with the FAB, and I think Tom's done a great job of not just talking about things but actually getting things done. The fan zones, another great project which is all about bringing fans together. I actually look at and this is all what we've said we were going to do as a club. I look back at the proposal we put out when we finalised our CGIs and we finalised the plans and our final group of things, and you look at the question and answers, and one of the questions was about the fans, and we said in there, this is something that we're going to develop with the FAB, which we're doing, and it's pleasing to know that, and I think fans feel that sense of belonging as well. Like, it helps, and we'll obviously, I think as a club, will contribute as well to it from a start, from an ideas level, even financially, I'm sure, but it's about developing the ideas. It's not about doing it now, doing it today. It's about making sure we get it right and we do it right. And just simple things like having a link road around the stadium, and it was a big investment for us as a club to put the road in extra, 100 plus extra parking spaces, increasing, but that was important so that we could actually. Because I don't know if people remember, but the original plans back when we took over the club was for housing to be right up against the East Stand, and without any sort of facility behind the stand for parking or for cars, etc. So I think it was great that we could link that around. So that link road will now give us the ability to close certain sections of the stadium, even on a match day, so that. Because right now buses have to go down there and etc., and emergency vehicle access. So I think that's important to what we've done, and I think that will help a fans village, fan zone type idea. So now we're pleased and excited about it.
And a few months planning now with the FAB to get the Brian Lomax Fan Zone open at the start of next season.
Yeah, that's the plan. It's not. It's something we'll certainly, and probably James more than me as such from initially, but. It's something that the club will be involved with, but it will be in partnership. It won't be dictating anything. It will be like, what do we want to do? But it has to make sense. Obviously, we're not going to waste fans' money or waste money on something, and we have to make sure it makes sense for the fans. And it makes sense for the football club, as we always do. That's important as well. But we'll I think working together, we'll get there.
the Fanon Project. You touched on the 30th birthday of Sixfields earlier. The Fanon Project, to mark that 30th birthday, the proceeds of that split between the Fan Zone and the academy. So a good chance to have your name engraved at the stadium will also help in the future.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I bought a couple. Remember my dad, who, whilst not a Northampton fan as such, came to a lot of games over, especially at the end there. And so I think that's important for me, us as a family, and for mum loved the idea, and it's just nice to be able to do that. And I think people are, it's one of the best things about it, and the stories that will come out. And I'm a big fan of seeing the family touches, the sort of people saying, I'm going to get one for this person in my family and that person who's not with us anymore. And I think it's a great way of remembering. I think there'll be a lot of Christmas presents for people, and it's just nice to have something to come to. And it's not big in general terms, but it's ridiculously important for the individual people just to be able to walk past and say hello to someone that's not here anymore, or that kind of stuff, or even people for your kids, or I think it's a great thing. It's a way of people to be remembered, dead or alive, so no longer with us or with us. I think it's great.
An area of the stadium that is already open is the Bees Family Hive. For those who haven't seen, the wall art is fantastic, man. They've really brightened up that area, and an important part of the stadium for young families, young children to come and enjoy.
Yeah, 100%. It was an important part when we were doing the East Stand, and GRS were doing a lot of work on that, and we made a big point of, this is a really important area for the club, and I think it's been hugely successful since we introduced it. And I think we get a lot of activity over there. I know Hazel and all the volunteers over there do tremendous work, and the players go over there and meet the kids and the families, etc. And it's the first time I'd seen the wall actually yesterday, so it's pretty impressive. Old Cameron McGeehan's face and right as the first one you see, so must have gone for the TV one.
Let's talk about Northampton Town women. Impressive start to the season, 6 league wins in a row through the first round of the Women's FA Cup. So Josh and Liam nominated for Joint Manager of the Month, so a good start to the season.
Yeah, and they should be as well. I've been watching their results. I think they've been excellent, and again, I think there's a tough league for them this year, and they've really come at it. And I think there was some, it's an interesting time for women's football, I think, and because of the success of at the higher levels in terms of the league and the TV coverage and the national team, etc. And it's how teams below that are falling into place, and how everybody and everyone has their own set of challenges around. We're going through that process of some teams almost becoming full time, and some teams not being full time, some teams paying expenses. It's a real challenging time, but you have to give credit to the guys at the community and the women's team that are hitting that challenge full on and getting the results on the pitch.
We'll just finish with the FA Cup draw. A great tie for Northamptonshire, the first one since 1990. The Cobblers against Kettering here at Sixfields in a few weeks.
Oh, it's a great draw. It was funny. I was leaving the office quite late yesterday, and Nick was in there, and we were talking about who do you want in the draw, and it's actually the draw that he predicted. In fairness, and he said, and I didn't watch the draw because I was driving, but the first text when I stopped was Nick saying I should have played lottery numbers as well, because it was basically the one that he said he'd liked, and it was really good. I love seeing the video of Kettering and how exciting it was for them too, and we've talked about them picking up tickets and how many tickets we give them, and etc. And I think it'll be really exciting for Northampton. I think the local media will be really interested in it, and because they've got, it's been a long time. 1990 is a long time ago, and I think it'd be an exciting day. It's not an easy fixture as well. They're never easy. FA Cup's never an easy fixture anywhere. And then you had the local excitement, and you had the, technically a bigger club in Northampton playing against a smaller team in Kettering. It makes it very, very difficult. But one thing we will certainly do is respect Kettering for who they are, and as a club, and hopefully have a really good fun day for Northampton, and we can celebrate Northampton sport, and it should be a day that brings a lot of people together.
The manager and players have got important league games to concentrate on, but as fans we can look ahead and get excited about it.
Yeah, and it's actually been really good to see that excitement. Really good to see that excitement of everybody, really, and it's a good day, 30th birthday, and then getting Kettler in the cup. It'll be good. It'll be fun.
Thanks for your time, Kelvin.
Cheers.